Well, another episode, Suck or Slap. We went and watched Shazam.
Yeah, Shazam.
Daily bets. I choose you as champion. Say my name so my powers will become yours. Shazam.
Wait, for real?
Say it, okay? Say my name. Shazam!
So in the beginning, we're gonna do a thumbs up, thumbs down, or in the middle, we're gonna say if it sucked or slapped. So after we get that out, y'all can decide whether or not you want to just yeet it out of here or not.
You'll decide if you want to yeet it or yote it.
Yes, yeet it or
Really?
yote it to the suck or slap. So if you've just decided all you want to know is what our
First impressions are, we haven't
first
discussed it.
impressions- Right, we haven't discussed
We saw it at
yet.
the same time, but we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
It's always a very awkward drive home.
Yeah, we're all just sitting silently while everybody in the back is
Yeah,
chit-chatting.
while our little sisters are just like, and we're just, just stoically. So yeah, we can get that part out the way.
Yep. Suck or slap. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Yes.
You cheated. You went early. Okay. Do you want to get some first thoughts out? Because I'm gonna kind of go out of control at
First
some point.
thoughts. The beginning of the movie was just as campy as I wanted it to be, but not in the family-friendly way that I was expecting.
Oh, all right.
And then as the movie goes on, it becomes more, I guess, family-friendly. Or not.
I would
don't know.
disagree with that. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, this is the best DCEU movie by a long shot.
Yes.
And I righted a wrong. I did go and see Aquaman.
Okay.
Apparently I was wrong to skip Aquaman. So you should see it at some point, especially since it turns out DC movies are good now, which is awesome.
Hey.
Aquaman, nowhere near as good as Shazam. Not even close.
Oh, wow.
But significantly better than Batman v Superman, Justice League, Man of Steel. Obviously way better than Suicide Squad.
Wonder Woman, though.
Okay, here's the thing. Wonder Woman is not as consistent as Aquaman is. Aquaman is a very consistently its quality is very consistent throughout. Like the beginning, middle, and end. I think Wonder Woman is great until the very end, and then it tanks because it becomes lots of incoherent CGI, and it kind of takes the piss out of Chris Pine's sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I actually forgot that he died in the movie at some point. I was like,
did too.
oh wait, yeah, he did die. Yeah, he was like drawing fire because what was going on around him was just a bunch of incoherent, blurry nonsense, which that was like starkly different from the rest of the movie's action scenes, which were very much over CG'd.
Anywhom.
Oh, okay. What?
Yeah, I agree, though. Wonder Woman...
Yeah. Wonder Woman was good.
It
had strong points, and it's a good movie.
But
But
Shazam.
Aquaman is better than Wonder Woman, and Shazam is about 18 times better than Aquaman.
It's good to know that Aquaman was good, though, because I was kind of interested in seeing it, but then it was like, it's a DC movie.
Aquaman is way too long, and it's fine.
Okay.
But, like, that's so much better than what we were dealing with before, and it's just like, it was like, okay, so Aquaman is like, you're trying to start the lighter. And just every failed attempt is every previous movie. And you're like, does it have fuel? Oh, it does have fuel. That was Wonder Woman. It's like, okay, there's something in here. There is something. We're not empty. Hang on. Let me just adjust the camp meter.
You
all
adjusted
right.
it, and then you tried it one more time. Batman
and it's
versus
like, ooh.
Superman.
No. Batman vs.
still not
Superman
working.
is before Wonder Woman.
Before Wonder Woman?
Yeah. Yeah, that came out way before Wonder Woman. What are you on about? Let me go back to my metaphor.
Okay.
You flick it after you know there's fuel in it, and that's Aquaman. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. then you say Shazam and lightning strikes it and it just explodes and now like you're freaking Prometheus.
Yep.
So okay, let me get into my nit and my grit. So the beginning, yes, good bit of actually scary camp.
Yes.
Going on.
I like that a lot.
And I liked how this movie never stops being from the perspective of kids.
Yes. Which
Like,
is nice. Refreshing.
Yes, it's refreshing from the broody, immature, childish nonsense of the earlier DCEU films from Zack Snyder. This is from the perspective of a kid who is real and exists, you know, who isn't just a blathering, edgy, just pile of nothing. Like, okay, this is the movie you come up with when you're 14 and you have good taste. And you're like, you know, you're listening to the cool music and all that stuff. This is that idea you have when you're like, almost like you're in that prime of creativity before you become a sad boy.
Yeah.
And then, you know, after you come out of sad boyness, now you can appreciate the ideas and dreams you had as a kid. Like, you know, when you hit about 16, you just like, you start burrowing into the ground. And then you don't quite come out till you're about 24. Like, around 24 is when most people are like, oh, God, that was stupid. Like, life is actually pretty great.
Yeah.
Shazam can be appreciated by those people. I feel like the Burrow boys over here, they're the ones that liked Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, you know. They're dark and brooding, but they don't know why they would be dark and brooding. They think nihilism is smart and cool, but it's actually, like, it's really childish and short-sighted. So this movie appeals to the cool people, which is, you know, 10 to 14-year-olds and everyone older than 22. So that
or just generally just people who have
people
taste.
have good taste. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah. The way it opens is cool and campy, and it has a fun like kids movie mystery to it. Like it almost has it reminds me of like the Goonies or like the Page Master. Or even like, you know, the Home Alone feeling where it's like Kevin McAllister versus these actual like home invading criminals, but you know he's clever and he can use what he has to his advantage, and you know the kids talk like kids, you know, they swear they're not bad people, but they're people. They have personalities. They're not little angels.
Nope.
And they also don't feel like they've been written and directed by someone who has a weird pathological hatred of kids, which I get a lot from Hollywood, because Hollywood seems to be composed of a lot of people with really messed up childhoods and daddy issues. So that eventually makes them act like their fathers, and they just hate kids for some reason.
Right.
But that's what I've noticed happens a lot out of Hollywood. This doesn't seem to have that at all. This feels very like Spielbergian in the way that it has the perspective of the kids going. Like every kid in this movie you could kind of see being John Connor from Terminator 2, where it's like, yeah, this kid is in a really dangerous life or death situation and he's scared, but he's not like miserable. He's not a miserable little coward. Like, good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And it feels like a kid's movie from the 80s or 90s. Made today, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
But it's without the kind of ironic... what's the word? Like, the ironic cynicism that people do 80s and 90s now. So when people do 80s or 90s nostalgia today, they always have this kind of weird cynicism about it, where they're like, I remember things being great when I was a kid. Turns out everything sucks. So, like, you make it this really kind of purposefully contradictory or, like, deep contrast thing where you'll have, like, a happy, nostalgic thing, but there's all this, like, blood and gore happening. Like, I think, what was it? Was it, like, there was one movie, it was, like, Starboy or something? It was an 80s nostalgia movie that, like, took the 80s kids movie and combined it with, like, the hyper-violence of, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger films from the 80s. And it was, like, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but, like, Stranger Things kind of goes into that territory. However, Stranger Things has a good reason to do it. like Stranger Things isn't just doing 80s kids thing. It's like doing 80s kids thing with eldritch horror, which is like that's not been overdone. So that's cool. At least it wasn't overdone when Stranger Things 1 came out. Now it's kind of getting there. The trailers for 3 looked very refreshing.
Yes.
But like it kind of reminds me of Hellboy in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because Hellboy has this unironic happiness,
like playfulness about
it. Yes, there's like a playful, and there's sincerity to it.
Because he's supposed to be like a young.
Yeah, he's a young
guy.
Strong superhero. His personality, he acts very much like a kid, even though he's got a big strong body and an adult voice cool facial hair and everything. But like he's very sincere, and even though he has like the wisecracks and stuff, like he likes candy and he has a crush on this girl.
Yeah.
And it's Shazam reminds me of that in a lot of ways. And I'm trying to speak about Shazam through the context of other movies because I don't want to spoil a thing.
Yeah.
Like I
Everyone
genuinely
just needs
think
to go see it. Honestly.
this is like when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and we were getting to the point where it was like it was hard to recommend Marvel movies because what if you haven't seen the other Marvel movies? And like Guardians of the Galaxy was one of those where it was like, oh no, you don't have to have seen anything. This movie's just super good and fun, and like it's hard to think of someone who wouldn't enjoy it in some way. Like that's how Shazam is to me. Unless someone doesn't want to enjoy things, like, and those people exist. Now, and I'm not saying I'm 100% right. I'm not saying everyone who dislikes this movie is wrong. It's just like I can't think of a reason why you wouldn't find something that you like in the movie. But yeah, like it's 80s, 90s nostalgia without having a punchline. It genuinely is a good, sincere movie about superheroes, which you'd think, I mean, duh. But, and I think it's so good that DC, out of nowhere, comes back into this kind of hopeful, this hopeful context, whereas Marvel just recently dove super deep into the dark, broody stuff.
Yep.
Like, Ant-Man and the Wasp was them coming back up for air, but then Captain Marvel was kind of dour, even though it was fun in a little bit. Which, by the way, I think this actually changes my rating from Captain Marvel retroactively to no. I think Captain Marvel is a thumbs down now, because I've seen what it's up against.
Oh.
Like, if you're going between, and I'm saying at the time, yes, it was a thumbs up, but after seeing Shazam, it's like,
well,
God,
Shazam
that was like
gives you that sort of nostalgic young version of you feeling that Captain Marvel really lacked.
Yeah, and what it needed, because Captain Marvel was a 90s nostalgia movie.
Yeah, and everyone that's going to watch movies currently was, really young and growing up in the 90s or in the early 2000s.
Also, Marvel, I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige, who is the guy running the show at Marvel Studios, I'm pretty sure he is worried about, well, what do we do to get a new generation interested in Marvel? And it's not Captain Marvel. Not the way they did it. Yeah. And it won't be another big, giant, epic, dark Avengers movie. That's not going to get a new generation into Marvel. What's going to get a new generation into Marvel is what Shazam just did to get a new generation into DC. Yep. This had me thinking about old Justice League and like old Superman cartoons. Like, this is like if Superman was done right, but you start to notice Shazam is just a more interesting Superman. Yeah. Like, he has a cool gimmick that makes him interesting, whether he's overpowered or not. Right. Like, and his personality is so much better than Superman's, because Superman is too much of a nice guy Boy Scout, whereas Shazam is literally an overpowered kid who, like, he turns into an overpowered superhero, but like he makes dumb decisions because he's inexperienced and he's flawed. He has his flaws.
Has like a relatable backstory.
Yeah, God, he does. Okay, I mean, we have our parents. Yeah. But
still.
Yeah, he has a relatable backstory in that he kind of feels lost, which I never get the feeling that Superman feels lost, which doesn't make any sense because he's literally not human.
Right.
But, God. Oh, okay, I gotta get back on track. Let's see, what would I want to talk about? Oh, okay. This is kind of a... I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the villain is evil.
Yes.
He is very bad.
This is more like a precaution, I feel like.
A precaution?
Like, if you're going to see this with
little kids?
Little kids.
Yeah, if you're going to see this with little kids, this isn't... He's misunderstood.
Yeah, he's
This
evil.
is... Someone was deeply abused as a child, psychologically, by his father and his older brother, and it has made him a very twisted, black-hearted person who is most likely beyond saving.
Yep.
But if you see the movie and you make it to the ending, you'll find out another reason why I think this is so much better than everything else DC has done, which is DC, like Zack Snyder has these heroes that are unlikable killer douchebags and then wants you to be okay with them killing other people. This movie gives you an unlikable killer douchebag
as a villain.
As a villain properly. And something interesting happens. That's all I'm going to say. And it puts it above a lot of my other movies that I would consider similar to this, like Spider-Man 1 and 2, like the Sam Raimi movies. Actually, very similar to Spider-Man 2 in a lot of its horror-like imagery, which this guy directed horror movies before. His name is David Sandberg, I believe. You did it, first of all. I see you. I'm a fan now. This is one of the few times where I watch a superhero movie and I'm like, I'm a fan of that person now. Because other superhero movies have gotten directors that were well known before. Not other DC movies. Okay, well, no, yeah, other DC movies. Like they got David Ayer to do Suicide Squad, Zack Snyder, which I liked before his DC run. But, like, the Wonder Woman director, I didn't really see anything she had done before. But I liked her after Wonder Woman. But, like, Joss Whedon, already liked him. Let's see. I think Adam McKay did the Ant-Man movies. I already liked him.
Yeah.
The Russo brothers, actually, okay, they are a situation like this, where the Russo brothers, I didn't know anything they had done before. Then they did The Winter Soldier, and it's like, oh, okay, I like you guys. David Sandberg, I like him. The only thing he really did of note before this was Annabelle Creation, which is a sequel. Like, he just did the sequel. And apparently the sequel's really good. I won't watch Annabelle because dolls freak me out more than most things do, so I can't even... Goodness.
Yes?
It's allergy season. Okay, so David Sandberg, awesome. What was the writer's name? Writer's name is Henry Gayden. Awesome. I'm been paying attention to you now. Okay, another reason this reminds me of the Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi did. Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, yes.
3 being the one that isn't good, so I'm not really talking about that one, but... There's a lot of Raimi-esque civilian interaction where they like to do reaction shots of what people are seeing the superheroes do.
That felt nice.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I really like that kind of thing, and I didn't realize that I had missed it so much. I didn't realize that we weren't getting that from the other movies. Like, the superheroes feel so separated from everyone else in the MCU and in Zack Snyder's DC films that it's nice to kind of be like, yeah, there's regular people watching this. And, like, this superhero, or this universe has superheroes in it. You know, like, they talk about Batman and Superman being real. Yeah. But something crazy will happen, like the one time where he just falls into that fitting room and they open the fitting room and they're, like, freaked out. That stuff's so fun. Yeah. And then the villain comes into the fitting room and, like, grabs him and throws him. And they're like, ah! Like, that's such good stuff. I love that. And I loved, like... when he was saving people, like, their kind of reactions to him, being like, I don't think you're doing this right. like one of the guys was like, he was in danger, like, and Shazam's trying to save him, and he was like, his reaction was like, huh, like, no, that's not right. It's like, no, we know how this is done correctly. Like, that stuff was so good, and I liked, like, Shazam's reactions to that, like, no. He's like, okay, I'll figure it out. which Zachary Levi, seriously,
Yeah.
fantastic
He
job.
did so good.
Very I didn't have that feeling of disconnect where you see the older version and the younger version of a character, like where you're like, well, that's a different actor, different performance.
Yeah.
Like it really feels different. This whole movie, he's switching back and forth, and it didn't break my suspension of disbelief. Where I was like, Zachary Levi is doing a really good job of playing that actor.
Yeah.
Like, and that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that that's the direction they did it, because if you think about it, adults are better actors than kids. That's just how it is. So that's how you really should be doing it, but you can only do it in the context where the character really is the 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't like, hey, Ben Affleck, can you try to play this kid who's playing young Bruce Wayne? Like, you can't do it like that, because the story's not about young Bruce Wayne.
Right.
This movie gets to do that, and I think it's still to Zachary Levi's credit that he does such a good job of being a super powered 14-year-old. All of his like mannerisms and like reactions to things, like when the whole middle part of the movie where they're figuring out his superpowers, he does it so well, and like his chemistry with the younger kid, who's you know the best friend or whatever, like their chemistry, that kid treats him like a 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
That kid was a great actor. I think he was also in It, apparently. Like, apparently he's just really good. His career's going to take off.
Yeah.
I hope, like many child stars, he doesn't end up, you know, in a ditch, OD'd on something in 20 years. That would really suck. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Please have a long, healthy career. Or, you know, make your money and go have a normal life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Zachary Levi was great. The movie has a lot of good slapstick and visual humor, which is different from the MCU and the MCU imitation that DCEU was trying, where it was like dialogue-based humor. Like, the only funny parts in Batman v Superman were little dialogue bits.
Okay.
And it almost feels like some of them were improv'd, and if you put improv in this big superhero epic, it starts to really feel out of place.
Yeah.
Like the way Batman reacts to Wonder Woman, where Superman's like, is she with you? And he's like, I thought she was with you. It's like, what? Batman, you know why she's here. What? Batman, shut up!
I think this has the advantage of him being young and learning his powers, though, which is probably why they were able to add more slapstick. But
yeah.
It's good that it had it, though.
Yeah, and it's almost like, well, I guess that just makes Shazam the best DC hero for a movie. Which, that's so weird to think about, because he's really not in much of the animated stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, it's almost like, oh my god, Shazam! Like, he's awesome! I love this character because of this movie. Mm-hmm. Also, I love his costume. It's so simple and campy and tacky, and, like, the way his cape...
Yeah.
Like...
It's just really short.
It's short and it looks silly, and like it looks like it looks like he grabbed a tablecloth, and like the way the cape moves, it's not CG like epic, like they always do Superman's. It's like no, it's just kind of there on his back, and like there's no wind nearby. It's just kind of sitting there, and when he runs around, it's so fun. Also, that lightning bolt is so simple and looks like it's from a cartoon. Like it's just a flat, just basic image. That being said, man, Zachary Levi's arms are huge. He really bulked up his shoulders and everything.
If any of that was CG.
I don't think...
I'd be interested in seeing him in person now.
Just to see. Find him outside of the costume. He looks like a superhero. Like, and it's a different look than what Henry Cavill has, which Henry Cavill has like these big long arms and long legs and everything, and he looks like, you know, he's jacked, whereas Zachary Levi looks poofy and cartoony. So that all works.
Like the comic.
This is a fantastic Christmas movie. I want to watch this
around Christmas.
Yeah, I want to watch this.
They show that a lot.
Yeah, and it ends like at Christmas time.
I love that type of atmospheric stuff.
God, I love it.
Especially for like something that's campy. It just feels good.
Yeah, it feels right. Like I want to watch.
Santa Claus is hilarious.
Yeah, the Santa Claus like person. He's the fake Santa Claus running around.
Yeah.
You know what's so good is this movie has jokes that are funny and then they get payoff later. Like the joke in the trailer where he says, "Dude, I don't even know how to pee in this thing." There's a callback to that, and it's funny. Also, his like foster siblings have jokes that have callbacks, and they aren't even like, most of them aren't even major characters, but they have setups, and then there's payoff later. Like the one who loves playing video games, I won't spoil anything, but like he gets cool video game references later.
Yeah.
Because like that's his thing. He loves video games. The little sister, Darla, is the freaking cutest thing ever.
Oh.
It's heartbreaking how cute it is. Like one of the first interactions Billy has with her is just like, "No. God, you're so mean.
Oh.
How could you hurt her feelings like that?" And like early in the movie, he's like super selfish, and then at the end of the movie, he's heroic. He's had character development, an actual character arc, and not just the kind where it's they were bad at their superpowers and now they're good at their superpowers. It's their actual character developed. Their character changed as a person. Like, I don't think Superman ever does that. I don't think Batman ever did that.
Nope.
Honestly, I don't even think Captain America ever did that. Going from the first Avenger to Avengers Infinity War. Like, the way he thinks about that kind of thing has changed, but I don't think his character has changed. He still has the same core values. But yeah, like, he goes from being a selfish loner to being, like, a good older brother, and he wants to do good things for people, not just because he wants the attention, which he loves the attention. Like, he gets to be the center of someone's universe for once. But, like, he starts taking responsibility for things. Like, he gets the whole Spider-Man with great power, with great power comes great responsibility thing. He ends up understanding that. And it's really fun to see him grow. And that part in the final battle, which is no spoiler, there's a final battle, but the part in the final battle where they're having their big CGI fight, but he also has to, like, comfort that little girl and her father, being like, it's gonna be okay. Like, that scene is so good.
Yeah, just to add on, though, we were talking about Captain Marvel earlier. Captain Marvel has
zero interaction with the people of Earth.
Yes, and also her character development has nothing to do with, like, her character. It only has to do with her powers.
Yep. And her remembering things. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good comparison.
But yeah, the part with the
little girl,
daughter.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And like, it reminded me of that part in the Avengers 1 where there's those people in that building that Captain America runs into and says, you know, get to this safe place, and then, you know, he blocks the thing with his shield, and he's like, come on, everyone. And you see the people, that's where you get an actual, like, civilian reaction shot. And they're, like, clearly inspired and moved by Captain America. Like, ooh, we have far too little of that. You need more of that in superhero movies, because, like, that's kind of the point.
And then no, never mind, I don't want to spoil it. Oh, it's so good.
We won't spoil it. But let's see. I was going to say, this is the first time I've genuinely enjoyed the middle of a DC movie. All of the DCEU movies have their fun bits in the opening, because they always have some kind of crazy action scene, and the ending, where they have a big crazy action scene.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've genuinely really liked the middle. Like, Wonder Woman, I think most of its strong stuff is kind of peppered throughout, and it's almost always Diana's chemistry with Chris Pine's character. Like, they are the best part of that movie, is their interactions. But, like, this whole movie's beginning, middle, and end are so concise and tightly written and all super enjoyable. Even, like, the wacky CGI fight at the end. Like, well, it's wacky. That's why it's more fun than any of the super dour, let's take this super seriously CGI messes in the other DCEU films.
Great moment. I don't want to spoil it. Where the fight kind of takes a second for itself, and it's hilarious.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. There's such good pacing. The movie has such good pacing. There's some scenes that I think, like Deadpool 2, go on a little bit longer than they should. Like, I think when he is first talking to the wizard, there's a few too many jokes that are happening before they finally get to the part where he gets the powers. Yeah. It feels like it's like, yes, this should be happening right now at this point in the movie. And then they joke a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, okay, let's go, let's get the powers. But once they get the powers, it's awesome and they have a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, as like counting all DC movies, not just DCEU movies,
Mm-hmm.
this is my. I might have to think about this even longer, but I've been battling myself. I think this is either as good as, if not better, than Batman '89, which I think is the best DC movie of all time. Like,
Wow.
the Michael Keaton Batman, the first one with Jack Nicholson's Joker, that's always, like, not always. I've kind of gone back and forth between Returns and that one, but nowadays I do think the original is the better one. This is better than Batman Returns, which this is just my personal preference, but this is my favorite DC movie as far as I'm watching it to enjoy it. Not as I think it is a good film, because I think '89 might edge it out a little bit there.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
So artistic.
yeah, it's very weird.
Yeah.
It's so nice and strange.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is so much fun, and it almost panders to so many of my specific like sensibilities.
Yeah.
Like that credit scene. That credit
Yeah.
scene was a Tim credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, this is so comic booky. This is so just. It felt like it came from Scott Pilgrim, like good stuff. Let's see. This movie made me like Batman and Superman again. They aren't even in the movie, and it
Yeah.
made me like them again because you got to see what the people in this universe think of Batman
them.
and Superman, which is, you know what you love about Batman? He throws batarangs. That's super cool. Yeah, you remember those cool things you liked about Batman
And they
when you were a
also
kid?
had moments where they like make fun of the other DC universe.
They totally did.
Heroes.
Oh, I don't want to spoil that one because that was a good one.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll leave that.
there's a
for y'all to find,
particularly
but-
there's a particularly Lego Movie-esque burn of the DC extended universe.
It was cute. It was real cute.
It felt like it was in good taste and in good humor.
It made me think, oh, I want to go and wait. I want to go and
Yeah.
go watch that.
I want to go watch that. And it gave the feeling of he's not roasting Zack Snyder. He's giving him a little ribbing, like a little jab. He's taking a little jab at Zack Snyder. You know, they're colleagues, they're teammates. David Sandberg, he's not trying to tear down Zack Snyder. He's just been like, people say this about you. I'm going to give you a hard time about it. Like, that, it's good stuff. The whole movie feels so sincere and not like it's trying to take the piss out of anyone. Like, if Shazam was a person, I would super just want to hang out with them. Like, all the time. Like, they're so cool around everyone. Like they're funny. They're going places. You know, they don't leave you like upset. Like at the end of the day, you're like, oh man, I feel good. I want to go do something.
Yeah.
Last major point I want to make. This movie has really well written characters. And the way that you can tell that a movie has good characters is that you can't wait to see what they're about to do. Not you don't care about you don't care as much about what is about to happen, but you care about what the characters are going to do.
Yeah.
Like, when they're in the convenience store and the robbers show up, like, I was like, I can't wait to see what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, because if you write good characters, now those characters can write themselves. You just have to introduce obstacles. Like, it felt like when that guy's, like, trying to take that lady's purse, I was like, I can't wait to see how they're going to try to deal with this. And then after that, when she's like, who are you? I couldn't wait for his friend to, like, come in there and start introducing him or whatever. Like, all that was happening, it was like, these characters have been written so well that you put them in any situation, and I'm looking forward to it now. Like, it made it to the point where it's like, I actually don't think any other director could mess these characters up now. Like, you understand them so well, and they're so interesting, and they make sense. That if anyone took the reins from David Sandberg, or even Henry Gayden, if anyone wrote or directed the second one, or, you know, whatever Justice League team-up movie he's going to be up in later, I don't think you can really make any mistakes with them unless you just contradict them. Like, if you just have a situation happening, any situation, and it's like, okay, well, now Billy Batson's here.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I'm gonna love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like write good characters before you write your script. Also, the way the humor works, how it doesn't feel like it was improvised, like there's not really improv happening. You feel like this movie was funny at the script level.
Yeah.
It wasn't. We wrote a dour serious movie that then we thought, well, let's add some jokes in there on the set. Yeah. Like Suicide Squad or like Batman v Superman. It was like, this movie was funny from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it was just, now let's execute the joke. So the jokes get to have the CGI and the production value and the timing and the callbacks and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, and they aren't just comments or references or whatever. When the last thing the fake Santa does, first of all, Santa is like the cabbage salesman from Avatar in this. Like, he keeps popping up, and it's like, this is my new favorite scene in the movie. The last thing he does, I was just like, I was almost in tears. I was laughing so hard. But yeah, one more thing. Could not have picked a better place to set a DC CG mess of a finale in than a carnival. Yeah. Like, put these guys in a carnival, and now it's just the most fun it could be, even if it was worse than it was. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty fun. The fight doesn't have choreography, but it's a fun fight. While still feeling like it has stakes.
If it had choreography, it would feel fake. Considering the situation.
Considering the movie it's in, it would feel weird to have choreography. Yeah. But one last thought. It's weird that this movie reminded me of Shazam. That's not a good movie, but there's scenes that remind me of Shazam in the best possible way.
Shazam.
I did not think about that until you just said it. I didn't even.
There it is.
Oh, go see Shazam. It's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Believe in superheroes again.
Yes.